We live, Jeff? We're live. Okay, so in this coffee break we're having together this morning for about a half an hour, what topics are you interested in talking about? Could be a couple, could be one.
So I know this topic we've done before regarding being a member of one church.
Hmm?
So I have a situation where one of my relatives, she loves church so much that she's a member of 3 churches.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't quite understand it. We haven't approached it, but my mom has, and I think she got offended when my mom said, you gotta be a member of.
It's like saying, I love women so much, I have 3 wives.
Oh, I think
Or I love being married so much, I have 3 wives.
Yeah. Same thing.
If you're Mormon, you don't have that kind of.
Well, yeah, that's par for the course for some groups, but not the Lord's assemblies.
You should ask her, do the other churches know that you're a member of this church too?
Yeah, I just,
To see what they're,
that's not normally a question I ask a potential church member. Are you a member of another church, right?
It's a question
Yeah.
they make you answer when you're getting married, though. Are you married? Are you married to anybody else right now before
Yeah.
you get married to this person? If they
Yeah.
ask it in the civil courts, maybe we should be asking it.
I think we should be asking it. Usually you know a person's history though, where they came from and why they left and all that kind of thing, if they've been in church at all. I'm trying to think if we ever were in that situation, but.
No, I know that's an unusual.
Well, where were you Sunday? I was at my other church. Your other church? What?
I'm curious, just kind of like spend like lengths of time, or just kind of bop around Sunday to Sunday?
So they have different times of services.
Oh,
So she's able to, so she goes.
3 churches in Sunday?
Well, I don't know.
Good
Dang, I
for
thought
her.
we spent a long time in church.
So she
Sunday.
goes to this Jewish, this Messianic, and that one sounds interesting.
Hmm?
He's a Baptist, but he's also a Jew, so it's a Messianic Jew, and so he talks about, kind of like what we do, the history of Jews. But there's 2 other ones that she goes to. I don't know how active she is in that one, but she also does during the week as well, so that's why
So that makes me wonder, kind of all along that topic. So spending time with other assemblies, learning and fellowshipping, but not partaking as an active member, is that, I don't see a problem with that if
No, I
it's more
don't.
just like a learning and studying relationship. But if you're taking part in ordinances in 3 different spaces, I think that would be an error.
Correct.
Now, the only caveat I would have to that, and I agree, is that if it takes away from what you're doing, your responsibility or your attendance in the body, then, you know, that could become a problem. But,
True.
you know, visiting in an assembly, certainly there's different personalities and different kinds of people. It's pretty eye-opening, actually.
I don't think she quite understands being, but it.
Well, none of our 3 pastors has instructed her properly. That we can make that a matter of prayer. I think we should. Or are you going to see her on your? Oh, you're going to. Never mind. Oh,
Is this in Hawaii?
Huh?
Is this in Hawaii?
No, she's in Maryland.
oh, really? I'm going to Maryland this summer for 3 weeks. Give me her address.
It's a teeny tiny state.
Okay.
She doesn't have room for a 4th. She can't make it out here.
Well, I figured, you know, she's open to 3. Maybe add 1 more. So that kind of begs the question: you know, just how important is the church? And I know you roll your eyes and go, oh, Pastor, we go over this all the time. Yeah, but how important how prioritized is it in your life would be probably the question. And what do you get out of it? How about some feedback from me? What do you get out of it? How about some feedback for us, not just me, us? Is this a vital thing in your life? Is it a duty? How do you see it?
Are you here because your parents
Yeah.
take you in a car?
Yeah. You just come because your parents make you come? Or would you, if you had your own car and your own means and your own money, would you come? Would you go somewhere else maybe? Would you check out other churches? Because, I know a lot of kids get jaded on what they're raised on because they felt like they were forced to. Ken and Val are experiencing that with some of their kids, and but then they're starting to come around to like, hey, I guess that wasn't so bad being raised in the church. I wasn't raised in the church, and I wish I would have been raised in the church at least somewhat. I did go around and check out all the churches I could that had girls in them. That's the truth of the matter. I was in the Mormon church for a while because I was dating a Mormon girl. I was in the Catholic church because I wanted to play basketball, and Catholic girls have more fun, so they say. And I'm just, hey, that's how I was thinking. I wasn't serious about God or anything. I was serious about me, what I wanted, and what I wanted to do, which is pretty typical for teenagers because teenagers' brains aren't developed all the way, and they're going through hormonal and emotional and physical changes that is the only one time in their life when it happens so fast. Maybe at the very end, I guess that may be true too. But so yeah, just feedback. Constructive feedback? I'm not looking for accolades or any of that. I just want to know. I want to hear the negative more than I want to hear the positive. If I want positive, I'll read the Bible stories.
What do you mean by negative?
Maybe there's something that it doesn't meet your need, or maybe I don't know. I'm giving people permission to be honest and open.
Something very interesting and important that I heard on a program, which sparked a very good question in the mind, and it had to deal with the youth. It had to deal with, are they being equipped in whatever congregation that you're in? Are the young people being equipped to defend their faith in school or when they get to college?
Yep, college is big
Yeah,
challenge. Yep.
you know,
Gotta have faith first.
and I think back for myself, raised in the Lutheran church, everything was very ritualistic. Joined the Navy, did a 180. But it was still in there. And it was still in there, the things that I learned 3 years later when I met Valerie, and she was kind of in the same boat. We were living on the outsides of our faith, but we had it implanted from our youth. And after time and after talking and sharing life experiences, we both realized that, God is still there, and we're not living the way that we are supposed to. So he gave us the relationship to come back around and get into that right relationship. It took time, but even though she had a better foundation, she was very involved in our youth group, and the youth group leaders were really involved with the kids, and they had a pretty good sized one. So I look here and I wonder about, I see the kids from the past. You remember We're
Yeah.
only looking at 2 that have survived from that group, at least here. And as a parent of a teenager, I would,
You can't, it's completely voluntary, right? Blake will sit here until he's old enough and his parents give him the option to make his own mind up. He can listen or he can not listen. He can internalize what's said or he cannot internalize what's said. So a significant portion of that comes down to him. And by the way, it's no different for an adult. An adult is just a grown-up kid, right? I mean, just because people come to church doesn't mean that they've learned anything. They're just here. Now, I think there's a certain degree of baseline that you get just by osmosis if you're around long enough. But because, you know, you learn to speak Christianese and use all the Bible words and that kind of thing. But that's no indication of whether you're truly experiencing God or not.
in times past, and I'm not saying recent past, but in times past, sitting in the other room with the young adults, that was one of the points, you know, a lot of the sermon is up there in the ozone that the younger minds, maybe 2 years ago or so, have a hard time grasping, and once you lose that attention, they're done.
Well, I know when you're littler, it's really hard for me to preach to the littles and bigs at the same time. So I do try to be general. I will, and I've gone through different stages of, you know, don't take this the wrong way, but you know, making messages more simplistic. I try real hard to do that. And then, but when you get into theological things, you need to explain things so the adults will see the logic, and that might be over the heads of certain age groups. So it's a balancing act. But so what I try to do, just from the teaching aspect of it, is I try to be open all the time. I hope you guys know that you can ask me whatever you want to ask me anytime. And I will take the time to try to answer you. If I don't have an answer, I'll research it.
I think just to insert a comment, that's one of the things I love most about this church is that we're small enough that we can interject and in
Yeah.
the middle of a message. You don't do that in big churches.
No.
You just sit there and you're quiet and you leave with questions in your mind, and here we get to like talk.
And I was thinking this morning, driving here, I stopped and got a coffee on the way, and I was thinking, if we were like 50 to 100 and had a big sanctuary, a bigger sanctuary, a bigger building, this right here wouldn't necessarily be possible. Not because it wouldn't be a desire. At some point, it gets too big to manage. So I'm glad that I know everybody here. I know you guys reasonably well. At least I think I know you reasonably well. I'm sure I don't, as far as, you know, knowing you as well as I could. But so back to what I was saying. Thank you for that. One thing I like about being a pastor and not tied to some code of ethics, that, I mean, we can just be ourselves. This should be a safe space. We should be able to say whatever we need to say, whatever we need help with, and be honest. I know we get embarrassed, and everybody should take that into account, right? And people are people. We're still all sinners saved by grace. So whatever you let out certainly is subject to being abused by other people, but it should be a safe space. We should be able to confess our weaknesses, you know, talk about them, ask for help for them. So that's the kind of atmosphere I want. So when I heard recently that somebody didn't think it was such a safe space, that really got me, because I always endeavor in everything to be transparent and above board. I mean, honestly, I had such a great example of the opposite of that in Larry Geraldson, and I'll say his name publicly because we're online. That it taught me a lot of what not to do and how, he taught me how to really pull the wool over people's eyes and be controlling. And I want the Holy Spirit to control people, so I'm not going to tell you what to do. So from a teaching perspective, that's all I can do, and then listen to the Lord as far as what needs to be taught, because my main job is to equip you guys for ministry. And if I'm not doing that, I've failed. So that means I have to be conscious of what you need. So when I ask, I'm asking because I need to know so I can meet your need. Ken?
Here we go, so hold on. Everybody, don't be mad at me, but I've got to say it. The preaching is outstanding, the learning is outstanding. The hard part is, and my own daughter told me, one of the biggest struggles here is the kids during the main service, because they're always talking. It's just very hard to focus.
Did I say that?
Pardon?
I said that?
You're not my only daughter.
No.
So without,
Probably Rebecca, I would guess. Because they have children's church where she goes to go. We talked about this.
And some churches, they kind of like have a requirement that when you enter a certain space, that there's a certain way that they,
Etiquette.
the etiquette, yes. There's certain etiquette in certain spaces, so, like when you enter like a Catholic church and that, there's a certain etiquette when you enter that space that is required of all the people that are there. And so it would just be a question of what kind of etiquette you expect. So I mean, someone comes into this space, there's etiquettes that they've grown up with that
Right.
and it will probably it could clash with the etiquette that we have.
And I've heard both sides. So like
Yep.
my friend Allison, George is a very active child, and it takes her away from services because he is seen as a distraction and it's difficult. Here she was like, this is amazing. All the kids are in here, they're chatting and talking or coloring or whatever, and so she was like, I'm not the only one with a chatty child. So
Yeah.
she loved that. But yes, there are others who come in and go, I can't focus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so distracted by, 6 children talking and playing and moving and walking, and we've adapted, I think, as parents who have grown up with our children doing those activities, we could just, horse bind their ears. But for newcomers or visitors who walk into a space that feels disorganized and
It does.
a bit
It
chaotic,
It appears chaotic to
I think
some people.
it's turning people away. And so I don't know if maybe when we see visitors or have visitors come, if we can like tailor, maybe one of the moms goes, okay, I'm taking kids today, and we pivot to help our visitors feel, just for, ease them in to the chaos. And maybe they're a family that, like Allison,
Right.
it feels welcomed by that, but until we have conversations with them, it might be best to reduce that.
Do you have a comment on what she's talking about? Because I want to.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I just remember back in the day, before we started having church here, when Holly and I know the other kids were kids, and you guys are like, having Sunday school and service, and we had like a church at the house, or we were having church at the Dowdens, all his kids would be like outside playing or, being kids. And this church, I feel a little sad because those kids don't have that. That they can't do any of that. They can't just like go outside and around and play and be kids because they're kids. That's what they do. So, I think it's kind of hard on the kids because they have to be in here and then want to run around and play and be children. And they can't do that. So that's
Well-
why I wish that we had that we could just move the church to a place where there was a playground area for the kids to play and have fun and be kids so that they don't have to, so that nobody's having issues with the kids playing, being children, and running and, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's
So-
my main thing.
We all wish that we had a better, not that this is a bad situation, I think it's a pretty good situation, but it's not ideal, that's for sure. There's things that could be better. So, let's go back to your point, which is an excellent point. So my idea of what a church is has changed over the years. So I came in to church seriously at a late age, in my 20s. So all I had known is Catholicism, what I saw in the Mormon church. I think I did go to a Baptist church once or twice. So very, very formalistic, very, very, like you said, etiquette. You walk in, quiet, sit down, shut up, kind of thing.
You can't expect that, I'm sure.
So that's what I entered into my service to the Lord thinking, and over the years, it's changed to, I understand now that it's talking about, in reality, a family. I mean, that's why we call each other brother and sister, and that it's supposed to be that way. And I'm not a fan of large, multiple hundreds of churches, of people in a church. I think that's great for programs because they have the money and the backing to do some cool things. But on the flip side, just like if we talked about doing something with the kids during the preaching other than being in the room, that tends to isolate them. They have their whole thing going, where we're a family. I don't isolate my kids when I'm doing it. When they were little, we didn't isolate our kids doing very much at all. As a matter of fact, I wish I would have ingrained them into everything I was doing more than we did already, because that's living. That's how you get to know people. That's where your bonds are strengthened. So there's a disadvantage taking them out, then there's an advantage. And no matter who walks through the door, and this is really hard because this is not how I would choose it, but if people walk in and make a judgment on one visit, they're not going to probably stick around anyways.
That's not marketing.
I kind of think that they're looking for somewhere where they can feel comfortable walking in anonymously at it. May not be true, but if you're turned off and you don't give a group of people or a church a more than a cursory glance, which is what that is, then
It's also hard to hear the message when you're not accustomed to that environment.
Yep.
And if they're not going to hear the message and all they focus on is the environment, they're not going to come back. And so I totally agree. Like, this
Yeah.
is our family. This is how we are. I don't want to change who we are just for one visitor, but I also want our body to grow.
Yeah.
Like,
it'd be nice, right?
I would love our friends to stay.
Yeah, Kevin and Alice.
So
That still
if-
sticks.
if there's things that maybe we don't change 100, 180, whatever, but we can tweak here or there, or like I don't mind the girls sitting back here coloring. They get to bond and spend their time together, but I don't know, maybe just think of ideas to help.
Well, and they're a little bit younger than when I would expect them to start paying more attention, right?
Yeah.
Like Freya's age and Maddie. Yeah, so Corey?
I just want to expand it a little bit though, with what Kenny was saying. I don't think it's just the kids. I think distractions
Yeah.
are just inherent in us, and I struggle with it. I have to be so focused on what you're saying or anybody that's speaking that sidebar conversations or the door opening up a ton. I struggle with it really hard, and I would think anybody would.
What would improve that?
I feel like
I
it's not
don't-
just the kids.
Me in a dark
so-
room, just watching it on my phone.
Well, because it's not just audio anymore; it's visual now too, right? I've been doing that for a long time, and I know that's helped some. Because
Yeah.
if you do get distracted, you can kind of at least get back into the context of what's being said.
I know a lot of that is mine, and so I will make sure, I will try to reduce Sybil's entrances and exits and distractions, in deference to the learning, because I know she's a pretty big one.
I think,
Well, she's little right now.
yeah, she's little. She
Yeah.
she
But
can't
she,
help
but
it.
she
But
comes and goes, and I can just stay out there with her, just so
But-
she's not.
But see, we don't want you to be missing out on services. That's what I'm like it's a
But this season of life is
Yeah.
gonna be, in 3 years, it'll be better, and
Yep.
I can come back and rejoin
No, not
fully.
really, because Nikki's going to have one, and we'll have another one roaming around. So yeah, but it does ebb and flow. I've got 2 hands up.
Well, if we got the TV working out there.
I got 3 hands up.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, is that a barb?
No, but I'm just, that's the hope is
yeah,
that
that
we
was the
could,
purpose.
Yeah.
Well,
YouTube
you
channel out.
the one in the, you're not talking about the one in the nursery. You're talking about the one up. Is it not working?
I don't know.
It is. It works.
Yeah, it works.
Do we have it on right now? Or,
Oh.
no, it's the kids. Okay, right. But yeah.
We can roll it out today.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll be back there with Sibs.
So
Okay.
Justin had his hand up.
I agree. I don't think it's just the children. Actually, as a matter of fact,
I can verify as the person that has the best view of the room, it is definitely not the children. Yes, you
Yeah.
are correct.
it's all of us.
Just the children.
That's what I was gonna say.
Not
You
just
have
the
the
Not
best
the
view.
children, because I mean, to say that the kids learn from adults. When we're walking around and we're being loud and we're going to the bathroom and we're chatting to our wives and yapping away like I do and doing what we're doing, the kids are copying after that. They're saying, oh, okay, I can do it too. I can talk, I can run around, I can do whatever.
You are absolutely correct.
They're
Excellent.
copying us.
Excellent point.
Adults, we should know better.
Ken, you had your hand up, and then Jeff.
Just rounding out this whole picture, the next factor is, I used to sit behind Hal, and he would just get so frustrated because of the background noise. He had hearing aids. I can only imagine what he hears, my hearing is going bad, so it's hard to hear. I hear tinnitus, I hear the ringing.
Yeah, my hearing isn't getting worse. My tinnitus is getting louder.
So, sitting up there was nice. I'm sitting here because Valerie wants to be in here. It's easier sitting closer, but just, that background noise, like being shared, and it's a hard subject, yes, we're a family, but even family dynamics have their challenges, and people are gonna get offended sometimes.
So why don't we, with kindness and love in our hearts, primarily help the younger ones to learn to sit quietly, it's not silent, because that isn't going to happen, but improving as they get older and modeling that for them. That's the only thing that's going to change that. And knowing that we're not all going to be perfect and do it all the time. Hey, look, I could call somebody out every week if I wanted to. I have learned how to ignore it. I ignore it. If I didn't ignore it, I would never get through a message.
Or you wrap it into the message.
Yeah,
You know, when
sometimes.
a baby cries, you're like, sinful nature. You're like, I love it.
You've done that too.
Well,
Sybil has been an example in many.
well, that's, you
Do
know,
we have buy-in from the parents that it is appropriate to respectfully correct children in love and tenderness?
is
You-
there,
Always.
is everybody, that's why I'm bringing
I
it up.
I think that's something that should be verbalized by all parents. I hope it's very clear, please correct any one of my children. Please correct me when I'm
Yeah.
out of line. But I am a little hesitant to offer correction in murky waters because I know everybody parents just a little bit differently. But I want to make sure that that's okay with everybody
It
if
is-
that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, as long as we all are agreed that we would like a less chaotic setting to learn in, then yes, we should do that if we're all on board. Now, Julia's, your mom's here? Is she here?
She's with my grandpa right now.
Okay. Is it?
No, she's just visiting them. I just came
Okay.
with my grandparents. They just dropped me off here.
Okay. Can you, I need do you have a phone?
No.
Okay, I get your mom then. Yes, I agree. That needs to be something verbalized. So Julia's not here. Of course, Ace, and you're a little bit,
I'll put you in timeout.
you look kind of older,
Don't,
but
just kidding.
um,
Just kidding.
Nikki,
I'm totally kidding.
Nikki's not here. She's got Freya. Anna's not here. So we need to address this when
Lauren,
everybody, all the,
You're in charge of this back row. This is where they all sit. And you're the biggest problem. I'm just
Goes
teasing.
against my parenting
They
style,
love
you just
you,
gotta
so-
let them do whatever they
But
want.
if you could encourage them to not chat so much back there, because they're out of my reach to tap them.
So we need a timeout chair, you know, the one that he's.
yeah.
Freya said I don't use timeout.
Freya says, I don't do timeouts anymore. You don't need that anymore. So what about Ellen? Huh. Yes,
Timeout
Ace.
chair's your lap.
Yeah, I just want to say something about the correction. Like, I don't know about like everyone else, but I'm open for like correction, and I think it's like I actually respect that if like you can sort of correct me. But I'm not gonna say names, but there are like a couple of people that not all the time, but like sometimes they're like do it, and it's like either like they don't know the full story, or and then they're just like saying what they saw, or it's like they didn't take like and they just don't take the time to like actually like figure out what's going on, and then it's like
Right.
oh you did this, and then it's like so,
That's why I said that we're all just sinners saved by grace, and sometimes we're gonna rush to judgment, or sometimes we're gonna say something when we really shouldn't have. And we, whoever's receiving it, and you know, I've been on the receiving end of that too. We need to give them grace to be wrong because they're sinners just like us, and I'm wrong sometimes. So it goes both ways with that. But thank you for bringing that up. That's a very important point
And
that
Justin,
we remember.
I really appreciate when you speak up and you say, I'm having a hard time hearing because there's too many people talking. I really appreciate it when you say that because sometimes we forget.
I try
So-
not to be rude about it.
You're not, when you just raise your hand, say, I'm having a hard time hearing, there's too many people speaking. It helps us be aware, so thank you for doing that. Please keep doing that. And you're welcome to tap, if my boys back here are chatting, please just tap them and just go like this.
You
Right.
can do that to me too if I'm talking to mobile.
Well, you're usually not too chatty back there, but please remind our kids to help you, okay?
So that means that you do that, Justin. That means that when you are respectful about that, just to clarify, that's not when you get up and yell at us and storm out. That is not what she wants you to do.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, when you say in a
Stop.
neutral tone of voice, hey, I can't hear, can you guys pipe down or whatever? Okay,
No, I hear you.
that's good.
I understand. I shouldn't be throwing that, but that's fix anything.
So when we get the other mothers back in the room together, when Anna's back and Nikki's well, Julia's here, we need to get that affirmation and share this with them so that they can, we can have buy-in from everybody, okay?
And I'm not talking about like full-on discipline, it's just the
Yeah.
verbal reminders. Sybil needs a lot of correction, and it's not a single person.
Oh,
Can't
yeah.
always be me.
It,
It means more coming from somebody else that she likes.
Mm-hmm.
oh, that she likes. Well, I'm off that list. She gives me the side eye, which is okay. She's not the first.
I get it too, once in a while.
Yeah. She likes Mama. She likes Caleb a lot.
Oh yeah, Caleb can be like, you need to sit down and stop talking. She'll be,
Her heart would be broken.
Okay. Well, this was a good chat. Anything? It's 11 o'clock. Anything else that you guys want to bring up before? I mean, we have a little time because I don't see Sunday school is dismissed yet. The
Also,
kids.
just a reminder on being organized, sound-wise. If we could also try to remember to be organized stuff-wise. So when we have visitors, every row should look available to wherever they want to sit. It's really hard when you see blankets or pillows or pens and papers instead. It's confusing, and I think visitors don't know what's available. So try to keep your aisle look not personalized. I know we all sit in the same place every Sunday, but
I don't
Yes,
think
you
anyone
do.
wants to sit in
I
the
think
front.
you're safe
You're
in the
safe.
corner. Just tidy
Look
up
at all
your
your
rows
stuff you've got.
daily.
Nobody's ever
Oh,
going to
I
sit
know.
there. I get the same place every Sunday too, so don't. You're not the only one.
I was gonna say, my upbringing, I was raised in the church,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of funny that it's like a full circle, because I used to be in this row back in Hawaii. I mean, the front row.
Kaneohe?
Well, not even Kaneohe, in Meaho. That's my home church.
Yeah.
And my parents, especially my dad, was very strict.
Yep.
I
noticed that about Grover.
if we ever did any peep, he would take us out and we would get disciplined. And I feel like I got most of the spanking.
Your brother feels the same way, just so you know.
Okay.
Probably.
But then again, we had a long service too, because we loved Meaho, loved to sing.
Oh,
So
yeah. Cornerstone doesn't love to sing. Breaks my heart.
We like the guitars though.
I like the guitars, yes. So, was your first pastor Brother Bird?
no, actually, that was Kailua Church. And
How-
and I was a member of Kailua Church. Okay, so I have been a member of several churches.
Not at the same
but
time,
not
though.
at the same time, okay?
Who gets around?
I'm just curious. I never met Brother Bird. I have great respect for him.
I wish
I
you
read
did.
all his stuff, and I corresponded with him, and was gonna go see him, but he passed before I could get there. I'm just curious what kind of church he had, because he writes with such a tender heart. He had to be. Was he really a stern pastor?
I was not a member of that church when he was a pastor there.
Okay.
But I could tell, I guess he, yeah. I know he was he would say what was on his mind,
Oh yeah, I like that.
and some people didn't take it very well.
Oh.
So,
I know that story.
mhm. But no, he was a very kind person. He would just drop what he was doing when my dad would come and visit him, and I went with my dad several times, and I enjoyed it.
She's saying she only wishes her current pastor was like that. I know that's a failing I have. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't say that.
No, I know. No. You've dropped by a few times, and I'm in the middle of a workout, and I don't stop my workout, or in the middle of something, I don't stop all the time, and Lord and I have talked about that, so. All good? Okay, we should probably close. Well, I appreciate the chat over coffee. Thank you very much. We should do this regularly, maybe quarterly. Where did our schedule go?
I erased it.
Oh,
It's on the Google calendar.
I know, but the Google Calendar's out there. And it's not even up yet, right?
Turned it into a chore chart.
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I really enjoy Cornerstone because it's not, yes, we try to have schedules, and be organized, but we also allow this kind of thing to happen where it's, and it's not like,
Do we
yeah.
run on island time?
Huh?
Do we run on island time?
Yeah, this is actually the first time that we were early,
I noticed. I was like, wow,
yeah.
you should go get Justin more often. Well, I do. We can change if we have to. No, we can change whatever we need to change. That's all. The structure's been set by the body going from day one. So if it's time to do something different, then we need to do something different. It's not set in stone. That's the beauty of being independent of any kind of ecclesiastical control or anything, is that we can decide that, hey, the Lord wants us to do this and we can do it. So yeah, there's no reason for us to keep our quarter after schedule anymore. And I just realized this morning, I'm running on that schedule. It's ingrained in me now. It's going to be really hard to break it. But there's no reason why we can't, because there's no church upstairs anymore. It hasn't been for 9 months. I didn't realize that. It's been 9 months. All right. So do I have a volunteer to lead in prayer? Miss Laura, would you like to lead us in prayer?
What? I was late.
I know, that's why you get called on it.
Dear most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here today. Pray that we would gain from today what you would have us to gain, that it would be a good day. And you would forgive us of our sins and where we fall short and fail. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So think about prayer. That was the Sunday school message that I had picked out. So evidently that wasn't going to be the